Good morning, Longhaultanker here. Doing a honing session this morning on a new razor. And what a beautiful razor it is. I'm going to show it to you right now. It's a Boker, and I hope you can see that. Got a lot of shine on the blade. This is a Boker Count Engelbert II. And then additionally on the face of the blade it says Graf von Berg 1185 to 1225, and it's got what looks like a bishop in a bishop's hat and a couple of shields or coat of arms on it. And just look at this razor. Blonde horn scales, all the gold plating that's on it, and it's extra thick. I don't know if you can see that. I've already got the tape on the spine. I'm rather ambivalent about taping the spine, other than the fact that this is so beautiful, and so with all the gold on it, I'm going to tape the spine and preserve all the gold on it. Now, I will say this about the edge. The edge is a factory edge. And as I'm looking at the tip, or the point, and I don't think you'll be able to see this, but it is very toothy, which I don't understand. This would be signifying of workmanship and quality control, and that bothers me. But it is what it is, and we will fix it. And I am using I forget the exact name of it, but this 3M tape that's extra thin and highly durable, etc. I got it a little bit too narrow, the tape. And so I had to use two pieces of tape, one on each side, and they meet together up on the spine, which is fine. It's not going to affect the spine, the thickness on the spine as I go up and down the stone. Now, we're using the Shapton Glass series, starting with the 1000. I'm going to joint the edge to get that toothiness out of the point. My stones are well lapped, and here we go. First joint. Oh yeah, I can feel it. The toothiness as I come down to the point. All right, let's give it a go. I'm using moderate pressure, 10 strokes each side, then flip it. Take a quick look at it here. better. Needs some more though. And all I'm looking for right now is getting that toothiness and that irregularity out of the tip, the point. But in the process, we're setting the bevel as well. Moderate pressure, keeping the blade flat on the stone, stabilizing it. Okay, more water. And we're getting a little gray swarf up on the stone, so. Tape is holding up good. Went 20 on that one. All right, we're making, oh, okay. Okay. Getting a little bit of wear through the tape, which tells me I got a high spot there. Well, that bothers me. I know a lot of people would they're not as concerned about having that flat plane between the bevel, between the spine and the apex of the edge on the bevel. And so they tape the spine and work the edge. And I get that, especially when you have an older, worn out spine. Let's see what we get here. There's another little trick I'll do here in a minute. That's what I was afraid of. Wearing just a little bit of the gold off, or they over gold onto the spine. That tip is looking a lot better. But if you're looking for a flat plane between the spine and the edge, you take yourself a marker and mark that spine. Come down and mark the edge, mark the spine, mark the edge. And do it again. Let's put on some more laps here. And so ideally what happens is that if you got a good flat plane between the spine and the edge, all the marker will be removed. The reverse side is looking good. Most of the red has come off. We'll give it a few more laps here. That side looks okay, as does this side. All right, we're going to go with some lighter strokes now. Lighter pressure, single stroke on each side, flip it and come back. And I may do 40 or 50 of these. Little bit of an X pattern I'm throwing into it now. I can feel it in my hand. Smoothing out. let's take a look at it. Well, I got good shine, and I'm not one much on the microscope or the loop. And if it's not working, it'll show up as you move on in the progression. My intent this morning is to hone this on a progression of shafting glass stones, 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 8,000. And once I've completed on the 8,000, I'm going to move to a yellow Belgian Coticule. Okay, we're going to move to the 2,000. You want to keep your equipment relatively free as you move up in the progression, relatively free of contamination of the previous stone. You don't want to mix the grit and the leftover from the 1,000 with the oncoming 2,000. That'll not help you. All right, so we got the 2,000 on the holder. I'm recording this morning on the iPad and not the iPhone. I'll move to the iPhone when I do the shave in a little bit. Also, on my previous videos, I was going to try and segue in some angles from the iPad. I couldn't figure that out, so we let that go. All right, here we go. Now, one thing we can do here on the 2,000, just like we did on the 1,000, oh, you can't see that. Sorry about that. Is that we use our marker again. And we're going to go with I'm a little off angle, aren't I? Let's get it over here. I'm at about a 45-degree angle from heel to toe on the stone. Now we're going to go with some lighter laps. What I'm watching for now, and I should have done it more on the 1000, is I'm watching for the wave, watching that the edge picks up the water, and it's coming up on the edge sufficiently. All right, I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to pick the stone up. And it just doesn't feel right. On the 2000 and 4000, I'll do these kinds of, I don't want to do it too hard on the 1000 because it's pretty abrasive. But when you feel like things just aren't smoothing out the way you want them to, moderate pressure. I'm not leaning into this too hard. Actually, that feels much better. And my normal propensity, I would rather hold the stone than use a stone holder, but be very careful when putting your razor under the water. Last thing you want to do is hit that faucet. Oh yeah, we're picking up the water now. I don't know if you can see it. Get in some X strokes here. Coming off on the side of the stone. You don't ever want to run off on the end of the stone. It'll certainly scratch and mar the face of the razor. I learned that lesson on a gold dollar, which is why you use a gold dollar when you're learning and beginning. Make your stupid mistakes on a cheap razor. We're going to do a few strokes under some running water here in a minute on this 2000. Let's see if it's popping some hairs. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We are doing just fine. Let's see if it gets it this way. Yep, doing fine. Doing fine. Put a few strokes under some running water here. You don't need to break the bank on the running water, just have a little drip, 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 drip. And that's sufficient to keep the stone in water. And very light strokes. I know, can you see me? I don't think you can see me on this. There we go. You're not going to be able to see me on this, but and I've got too many obstacles under my arm. Yeah. Oh yeah, much better, much better. Yep. I'm going to look to move on to the 4K right now. I'll probably make a break. Yeah, don't say that part out loud. We'll just edit that little piece out right there. Okay, we're moving on to the 4K, 4,000 grit stone, Shapton glass, which reminds me. I'm doing 10 strokes in each direction. See what it looks like. Oops. It's looking good. I'm looking for even scratch pattern. I'm looking for polish on the edge, on the apex. Okay. Yeah, I got myself a little bit on that hand. Now remember, as you hone a razor and progress up the grits, the purpose is to remove the scratch patterns from the previous stone. That way you know you're getting a nice polished edge, and a better polished edge is a smoother edge in the shave. On these straight up and down, I'm pushing the toe forward slightly. No more pressure, just a little more speed maybe. Getting a dark swarf up on the stone. Okay. Weight of the blade only. Getting good pickup on the water. Light pressure right here. Okay, let's put some water on the stone. We're going to get under the faucet. Light pressure under the faucet. Good even stroke. I'm feeling, now for me, based on my experience and based upon how I've taught myself over the years, I'm feeling an evenness of drag as the blade goes up and down the stone. I'm feeling a evenness of drag all the way across the edge. There's no part of the blade that's jumping or skipping, hopping. All right, let's take a look at that. Let's see, I don't think this has got a pause. Okay. Well, I'm going to put a few strokes on the strop, and I'll come back with the, let me rinse this off, come back with the 8K, but I think we're ready to move up. And stropping between the stones is always a good idea to even out the bevel and get any burrs off that might have formed doubtfully, but you know, gives you a sense of comfort. All right, give me just a couple of minutes and I'm going to go put 20, and I'll edit this part out later, but I'm going to put 20 strokes on the strop. Okay, looks good. Gave it 20 laps and looked at it under a bright light, and it looks like it's coming along fine. Didn't see any scratches, inordinate scratches. I'm feeling an evenness of grab. The swarf pattern coming up off of the, coming onto the stone is even all the way across the stone. Oh yeah, that polish from the 8K is just all the way across the edge. I'll keep going for a little bit more to get any scratch patterns left from the previous stone. Okay. Now we'll go under some running water. Yeah, we got a good wave of water coming up onto the edge and onto the blade. That's a good thing. Even all the way across. Got a good grab from the 8K. Oh yeah, that just feels great. All right, we're going to come back with the yellow Belgian Coticule. I'm going to put another 20 laps on the strop and get in preparation for the Coticule. Oh, that's just fabulous, just fabulous. Okay. I've got two Coticules, and this is the second of the two. They're both select grade. The other one is one I've had, was my first one, bought it new. This one I bought used, and I didn't use it very much and never gave it a fair shake. I'll be back in a minute. You doing all right? Yeah, that polish looks good all the way up and down the blade. No standout scratch patterns that seem out of place. Now see, I think a real simple view to all this stuff is that yes, you can get your microscopes and your loops and you can do all hanging hair tests and all these different things, but the one thing about a truck driver is that it's got to be simple, it's got to be fast, it's got to be easy, because truck drivers are a pretty lazy bunch, and they don't want to be bothered with a lot of extraneous movement. Now I'm doing some lapping here on this Coticule because I want to get the slurry built up. That turns out to be too thin. I got my slurry stone out to give it some more. Oops, well, that's no good. Got some water on my pin. We don't want that ever. I think we're doing fine. Heavy milk on the slurry. I can feel a good drag all across the edge of the blade on the stone. And what I'm going to be working toward is I thin out the slurry as I'm looking for that heavy drag, that grip, that resistance as we work on here. And if you've never seen Dr. Matt 357's videos on the Coticule, those are must go to, must see. I have never seen anybody explain how to work a Coticule as effectively as he has. And I just said a bit ago that this was I didn't give, when I first got this Coticule stone, I didn't give it a fair shake. And I always thought it was inferior to my other select stone, which is fabulous because I worked it more. So a couple of weeks ago, I pulled this one out and said, well, I had some time, and I'm just going to work it. And if you see my recent shaving video with the, no, I take that back, the Joseph Elliott razor, it was actually a fail. I had to jump over to the Dovo to finish that shave. And so that's when I pulled this stone out. And it's, Joseph Elliott, Sheffield steel. I've always heard that Coticules work really good on Sheffield steel. And so I wanted to give this an adequate test. And so I used this stone on that Joseph Elliott, and I haven't recorded, since with it, but when I got in the truck stops on that next trip with that Joseph Elliott, it was fantastic. And I'll have a video with it. And so when I got this new razor, I wanted to hone this one up on this second used Coticule. My second Coticule, it's a used Coticule when I bought it from the guy. And I'm just getting smooth action here. I'm not counting my strokes. I'm just looking, I'm going for feel is what I'm going for. I'm going to go ahead and start thinning down on the slurry. I don't feel like I've got to thicken it up again. Just fabulous. We're going to end up, of course, under running water. Little bit of an X motion as I pull the heel off the stone. Lightweight, medium, not more than medium weight pressure for maintain contact and balance on the stone. You can see my body going back and forth maybe with the motion of the All right, let's try a little something here. A little one-handed. See how we're... Oh yeah, do you see that? Can you see it? I'm getting pickup just fabulously. Whoops. All across, yeah. All across the edge, getting deep pickup, all halfway up the face of the blade. Yep. All right, let's thin this out some more. I think we're getting close to being done here. That thing's just peeling off the hair. Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope this is coming through well. I've said in my other videos that I took up straight razor shaving and honing at the same time, which I recommend everybody do that's interested in this hobby. Make it a primary hobby. You know, if you're going to pick up straight razor shaving, learn all of the elements of the trade. That way you can enjoy. There's so many different rabbit holes you can go down with the collecting and the restoration. I don't do restoration work. But I'll buy a good vintage razor. Now I did, well, that's another story. I've got one razor up in the closet that a friend at work gave me that it's a Woolston Home, and it's a real small one. It's like a 4/8, 3/8, but it's all rusted up. But the once I get past that, I think it's got a good edge, because he had one. He had two. Gave me one as payment to, I won't say restore, but to fix his, to clean up his. That's a better way to say it. Clean it up. So I washed it in pumice soap. That pumice soap just knocked off all the top heads of the rust. I went 400, 800, 1,000, 2,000 on the wet dry sandpaper and cleaned it up. Did not take the scales off. That's not my thing. I did not unpin it. And he was very satisfied. It was his grandfather's. I sharpened it up, honed it up to the 30,000. And I asked him, I said, "You going to shave with it?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Well, it's ready to go." I shaved with it after I was done, and it was just fine. All right, let's get this under the water. And this is all about lightweight, under the water, water coming up the edge, the face of the razor. And what I'm looking for is what Dr. Mack describes as that stiction. That stiction. He uses that graphic of the motorcycle. If you've seen the videos, you know what I'm talking about. With the stiction of the tire, he's laid over at an extreme angle on the racetrack, and the tire and the track are one. You get extreme stiction, and that means that if you get that on the stone with the razor, that means the stone and the razor are one. And the stone has given you all that it can give. It can give no more. And that's what I'm looking for. This is the first honing video I've ever done. And I'm off from work for a few days. I'm not getting a lot of, I don't feel like that the resistance and the stiction is just want to draw my hand to a complete stop. But I am getting some. I'm getting a good bit. It's probably giving me 50, 75% resistance over a normal stroke. I'll do a few more of these and I'll call it quits. We're going to call that quits right there. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pause the video, not pause it. I'm going to terminate this video, post this up as a separate video on YouTube for honing, and then I will strop the razor up and I'm going to come back with a shave in just a few minutes. So we'll see you in just a bit.